Let's move to college football. The Oregon program in the news again for the second time in newly hired head coach Willie Taggart's tenure, but it's not good news. Just weeks after their strength and conditioning coach was put on unpaid leave for a few players being hospitalized, now co-offensive coordinator David Reaves is expected to be fired after being arrested for a DUI. Reaves was hired just last week after working with Taggart at South Florida. Should we be worried about the culture that Taggart has been bringing into Oregon, or do we need to pump the brakes on that at this point?
I'm a little worried, but I think overall, maybe just pump the brakes a little bit. You know, I know it's because it's two major instances that you never want sort of some black eyes and some black clouds kind of forming over the program so early into Willie Taggart's tenure there that you start to say, whoa. It's not exactly what you want when you pass the baton from one coach on his way out to another coach on his way in. It's not the kind of headlines you want to make. In this specific instance, though, I think it's still so early. I don't think they're isolated incidences. It's not like there's three coaches that were all arrested for DUI and something's going on in the program where, you know, people feel like it's some sort of substitute teacher mentality and people can do whatever they want. I think obviously your strength and conditioning coach, and that incident is one where coach got a little above and beyond with what they should have been doing. Now all of a sudden you got some of your players going to the hospital. You got to check it at that point. Same thing here. When you come in and you're recently hired, one of the first things you do when you get to the Pacific Northwest from the Southeast is go drinking and driving. It's stupid, and it's something that you got to think about. But especially when you're a co-offensive coordinator.
That's a position that's in the spotlight.
A co-offensive, you got two guys for the same job, and one gets a DUI. Bye-bye. See ya.
We don't need you. We have another guy.
It's like when, you know, we always say if you have two quarterbacks, you don't have any quarterbacks. If you have two coordinators, well, then now guess what? That's probably the way it should be. And for Coach Reaves, unfortunate. Hopefully it's not an epidemic problem that he's dealing with in his life. I have no idea, but it's certainly not the headlines you want to make when a new regime comes in to coach at a program like Oregon that has had so much success as of late. Talk about Phil Knight trying to pump in all the money he can to get one of these big name coaches. I think there's a lot of people up there that saying, who's Willie Taggart? And then, wait, who's he bringing in? He just hired that guy, his boy from USF, and he's already within a week of getting a DUI.
And that's the thing, that both of these, the strength and conditioning coach and the co-offensive coordinator, came in with Taggart. It's one thing if you hired a guy and you're like, well, you know, I didn't know what his background was.
Under his watch, but that wasn't really his guy.
But you're supposed to know these guys.
Right.
They were with you at the previous stop. You brought them here. That is a reflection on Taggart. You know, you can't say that's unfair.
The more we talk about it, I don't think you got to pump the brakes at all. This is bad. This is a bad look.
That's a flag right there.
Get together, man. What are you doing,
Taggart, what's going on there, Oregon?
I just convinced myself out of it. Don't pump the brakes at all. All systems go. What the hell's going on? Figure it out.